It's a sunny Saturday morning in Wallops Island, Virginia at NASA's Wallops Flight Facility, and you're looking at a live view of the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport Pad 0A. What you see right now is the Antares rocket with the Cygnus spacecraft ready for launch in just under 30 minutes on Northrop Grumman's 12th commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station.
Copy that, FSO and Ops 1, Step 350.
Cygnus will be delivering over 4 tons of cargo to the International Space Station, and after its launch today, it'll make a 2-day journey, arriving Monday, November 4th.
FGS external power nominal. Copy that. We'll check 356 and 357.
I'm NASA's Leah Cheshire, and we're live from the International Space Station Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, where flight controllers are monitoring all systems aboard the space station.
Step 359, transfer.
The space station is currently flying about 259 statute miles north of Bermuda in the Sargasso Sea. Flight Director Royce Renfrew is leading teams in this room today. You can see him there. He's gathering data from all the flight controllers ahead of Cygnus launch. The visiting vehicle officer this morning, or VVO, is Ray Bigenes. He's in direct communication with Northrop Grumman and is sharing Cygnus status with teams here in the room.
Check channel 1, function removed.
FSO, arm on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. +1, +2. Arm removed. Check channel continued.
LC elect 2, FTS arm indication received. FTS currently indicates safe.
And FSO, verify FTS arm indication.
FSO, FTS arm indication.
LC elect 2, FTS safe and arm, and FTLU safe.
Copy all. We'll check 362, 363, and 364 complete.
There are multiple locations where the vehicle is being monitored today. This is the Northrop Grumman Mission Control Center located in Dulles, Virginia, where teams continue to monitor the Antares rocket and Cygnus spacecraft. Everything currently proceeding nominally for an on-time launch at 8:59 Central Time, 9:59 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. The mission director today in Dulles is Paul Brower. It's a special time for the International Space Station. On October 31st, the 3-member crew, Expedition 1 crew of William Shepard, Yuri Gidzenko, and Sergei Krikalev launched to the International Space Station. And on this day, 19 years ago, they arrived to the International Space Station, beginning 19 years of continuous human presence in space. During an on-time launch today, the International Space Station will be flying over the South Atlantic, southwest of Cape Town, South Africa, at an altitude of 257 statute miles. But down here on the ground, and as you can see in this picture, mostly clear skies, actually totally clear skies, and a little over 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Expecting nice and clear conditions throughout the rest of the morning. There is a 0% chance of any weather violations. Cygnus will arrive to the International Space Station after a 2-day journey, and it will make its way to the Unity module on the Earth-facing side of the station Monday, November 4th. Astronauts aboard the station will use the Canadarm2 to reach out and grapple the spacecraft once it reaches its grapple point. Jessica Meir will be the capture lead for that morning, and she'll be backed up by Christina Cook. NASA astronaut Drew Morgan will monitor Cygnus systems during the final stage of the rendezvous. Once astronauts have captured the vehicle, they'll turn controls back over to teams here on the ground, where the robotics officer will use the Canadarm2 to reposition the spacecraft and bring it up toward the Unity module and berth it with the space station. Crew will access the cargo later that day. And Cygnus will remain attached until January 13th, 2020, when it will depart the space station but not return to Earth just yet. It will complete some satellite deployments and additional objectives before burning up upon re-entry into Earth's atmosphere.
Prop 2.
Yeah, Prop 2, step 365. You go to place OCCS in the SAC mode and pause the HSS ASC.
In work.
Under 24 minutes until launch this morning, let's take a look at what is on Cygnus. A total of over 4 tons, over 8,200 pounds, will be launching to the space station this morning. That's over 1,700 pounds of crew supplies, over 4,242 pounds of utilization equipment, which is science experiments and other hardware, 203 pounds of spacewalk equipment, another 1,561 pounds of vehicle and system equipment, and 31 pounds of computer resources.
Lead and Prop 2, you can resume your HSS ASC and then return OCCS to automatic control mode.
And LC Prop 2, HSS ASC resumed, OCCS in auto control mode.
Copy that, too. We'll check 368 and 369. And GNC-1, can you provide status of upper level winds?
LC, GNC-1, upper level winds are go.
Roger that, GNC-1. We'll check 370 complete. Ops 1 LC, countdown 1. Step 371, enabled ME1 and ME2, TVC and EHA buses.
LC Ops 1 in work. LC Ops 1, TVC and EHA buses enabled.
Roger, Ops 1. Site control, step 372, arm tel for rapid retract.
And in work.
This morning, we are joined by Christina Halona, Program Manager for Antares Systems, Engineering, Integration, and Test, here with us from Northrop Grumman today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and good morning to everyone who's joined us this morning.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Sure. As the Antares Systems Engineering and Integration Test Engineer, Program Manager, my role is to provide systems engineering leadership to efficiently and reliably execute Antares' cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station. My team and I work to increase the focus on clear requirements development, interface design, testability, and verification. The system engineering is an important role to Antares as we actually get to, interface with all the different engineering disciplines through across the program. And we do this to ensure that we are always in compliance with our customers' requirements and their needs throughout the program.
That's great. So there are some differences with this launch that we saw this before on Northrop Grumman 11, but we're seeing it again on Northrop Grumman 12, the late load option for cargo on Cygnus. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. One of the unique features of the Antares 230 Plus vehicle is that we have built new specialized ground support equipment that allows us to take the vehicle from vertical to horizontal. This allows us to kind of drive what we call a mobile clean room right up to the pad, as you see that there in the graphic. And this allows us to remove the pop-top fairing. We can't see it there in the picture, but there's actually a pop-top on top of the fairing that comes off, and we're able to load time-sensitive research experiments and other perishable items that NASA needs to provide 24 hours prior to launch. I'd also like to note a key flexibility feature added to the CRS-2, which is the ability for NASA to significantly alter the final cargo load by up to 20% as late as the 24 hours before liftoff. And you can't see it here too, but there's a bladder that inflates between that little opening there and the fairing, and that inflates to close the gap between the clean room and wall so that everything that goes in and out is protected.
It's very interesting, and I understand this is not the only difference for this flight. This is the first flight of the Antares 230 Plus rocket. So what are some of the differences between 230, which we've seen fly before, and 230 Plus?
Sure. So the NG-12 is the first flight of the Antares 230 Plus configuration. And the difference from Antares 230 are the upgrades to the Stage 1 core. It's also lighter composite structures and an optimized second stage mortar. The upgraded Stage 1 core allows Antares engines to perform at full thrust throughout most of the first stage profile. With these upgrades, we're able to offer NASA more cargo capability for their CRS-2 missions by increasing the performance of Antares. We're also providing more flexibility for the final cargo load as well. And this figure, everyone can see is the differences, and you can see in comparison how much we've kind of taken off, and there's definitely lots of mass savings for us for 230 Plus.
Great, more efficient and able to deliver more cargo, so that's what everyone wants.
Oh yes, and that we'll be doing that for 230 Plus going forward.
Thank you so much, Christina. We are now just over 17 minutes from launch of Cygnus. We'll be looking for that at 8:59 a.m. Central and 47 seconds, 9:59 a.m. Eastern and 47 seconds. But the teams have been progressing smoothly throughout the morning through some pre-launch milestones. That began about 4 hours ago with poll for readiness for the launch vehicle to be powered on. And then an hour and 20 minutes before launch, fueling began of the first stage. That's liquid oxygen and R21 kerosene.
Roger that. System will check 379 complete.
There have been various checks throughout the morning between Houston and Dulles, Virginia, to ensure everything is on schedule. And at the 12-minute mark before launch, we will have a poll to proceed with the final countdown. Everything continues to proceed smoothly, and at 5 minutes before launch, the vehicle will switch to internal power.
Lead on countdown 1.
Go ahead, lead.
F1N level is 13 of 13.
Roger that. Lead Core 1 LC, countdown 1.
About 3 minutes and 30 seconds before launch, auto sequence handoff for terminal countdown will be initiated, and that marks the time the computers take over for the final steps up through the launch at T-0.
Launch team, be advised, step 3D5 will be not required for today's operation. We'll be coming up with our poll to proceed with final countdown in just about 3 minutes. And Core 1 LC, countdown 1.
LC says Core 1 on countdown 1.
All Cygnus vehicles are named after people who have made significant contributions to spaceflight but have passed away, and this vehicle is named after the late Apollo and Skylab astronaut who died on May 26, 2018 at the age of 86. That's Alan Bean. It's very appropriate that Cygnus is named after Bean on this mission. It launches 50 years to the month after Alan Bean, Pete Conrad, and Dick Gordon flew to the moon on the Apollo 12 mission, in which Bean became the fourth human to walk on the lunar surface. He was the lunar module pilot aboard Intrepid with Mission Commander Conrad when they landed on the moon at the Ocean of Storms on November 19, 1969. 4 years later, he commanded the second crewed Skylab mission, Skylab 3, which launched on July 28, 1973. Bean, Owen Garriott, and Jack Lousma spent 59 days in space aboard America's first space station. That's Alan Bean, and we will see the Cygnus named after him flying very shortly today.
Roger that. Prop 2 will check step 382 complete. CMD-LC, countdown 1. And CMD-LC, countdown 1.
CMD, countdown 1, go ahead.
Yeah, CMD, looking for status on your internal power?
Yes, Cygnus is on internal power and nominal.
Roger that. We'll check 384 complete. And launch TMLC on countdown 1. At this time, I'm going to poll to proceed with final countdown. GSO?
GSO, go.
RSO?
RSO's go.
TD?
TD is go.
Prop lead?
Prop lead is go.
Stage 1?
Stage 1 is go.
MES-1?
MES-1 is go.
GC?
GCE, go.
ACE?
ACE is go.
Mars?
Mars is go.
CMD?
CMD is go.
LD?
LD is go.
NG?
In honor of Alan Bean, who shared the gift of exploration in both life and art and inspired future generations to travel back to the moon and beyond, Northrop Grumman is go.
Copy. And we are go to proceed with final countdown. Check step 386. And Ops 2, LC, countdown 1, step 387. Go to start engine evacuation.
Engine evacuation started.
You just heard the poll to proceed with the final countdown, and we're also watching some ducting happening off the rocket. We can't really see the Antares logo so well anymore. So, Christina, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening there?
Sure, you can see the top half of the first stage of the vehicle is really cold with that cryogenic liquid oxygen. The Antares logo is almost completely obscured by ice, as you can see there. The evaporative process is happening, so the liquid oxygen is blowing off of its relief valves. That is super cool.
Just under 10 minutes until launch of Antares, things continuing to proceed smoothly throughout the countdown this morning. Once we get to the launch, the first thing that will occur is the stage 1 ignition. You'll see liftoff just a few short seconds afterward, and those main 2 engines will burn for about 3 minutes and 18 seconds before cutting off, and stage 1 will separate from the rest of Antares. Cygnus will coast for a bit until fairing separation, when the external cover that protects the spacecraft during launch will separate. The interstage adapter that connects the first and second stages will separate at 3 minutes and 58 seconds into flight before Stage 2 ignition, a solid rocket fuel that will burn for 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Once the second stage burns out, we'll be listening for the call of orbit insertion for the rocket at 6 minutes and 49 seconds after launch. The vehicle will coast for 2 minutes before Cygnus separation 8 minutes and 49 seconds after liftoff, with solar array deploy occurring about 2 hours and 53 minutes after launch. The deployment of those 2 Ultraflex solar arrays currently tucked away on Cygnus takes about 30 minutes, and then the vehicle will begin gathering power for the next couple of days during its journey to the space station.
We haven't showed the wall. It's okay. You can just talk to me about that. Sorry. So, we haven't shown the Wallops.
Ops 2LC, countdown 1, step 94. Let's go ahead and initialize the ground ordnance power supply.
Ground ordnance power supply is initialized.
Ground ordnance power supply is initialized. Nominal.
LC prop lead on countdown 1, VTSO activation verified.
Copy all their prop leads. We'll check 393, 394, and 395.
LC, Site Control, Aft Bay ECS transferred to GN2 confirmed.
5 minutes and 45 seconds until the launch, and the next milestone for Antares will be for the vehicle to begin turning on to internal power at 5 minutes.
And launch team, step 389 will be not required for today's operation. And Ops 2, you go to initiate engine priming at T-minus 5 minutes.
Engine priming started.
Ops 1, you go for step 398, transfer avionics to internal power.
All internal power on selected. Standing by for command completion. All external power off.
And LC Elec 1 confirms internal power is nominal. Ops 1, step 400, open FTS umbi loop and verify green indication.
FTS umbi loop open and green.
LC Elect 2, FTLU, and FTS receiver indications are nominal.
Ops 1, step 402, send all arm command.
LC Ops 1, all armed commands sent.
LC Elect 1 confirms SNAs and ODMs all armed.
NASA TD, report range status.
LC TD, range is green.
Copy, range green.
LC MES 1, step 405, priming verified.
Copy, priming verified, check 405 complete.
Three minutes and 30 seconds until launch. Everything continuing to proceed nominally for Antares.
Be advised, phase 3 dynamic limits will be active at T-minus 3 minutes.
FC command into flight mode. Auto sequence start. ODM bus voltages and currents nominal.
Copy all, Elect 1. GNC 1, step 411, verify ready for nav mode.
LC GNC 1, ready for nav.
And Ops 2, step 412, switch to nav.
LC Ops 2, switch to navigate.
LC GNC 1, orb nav telemetry verified.
Copy that, GNC 1, check step 413 complete. And we'll be at T-minus 2 minutes. Mark.
One minute and 45 seconds until launch. Everything proceeding smoothly for Antares and Cygnus. Still looking at an on-time launch at the opening of a 5-minute window, aiming for launch at 8:59 a.m. Central, 9:59 a.m. Eastern.
1 minute, 30 seconds. T-minus 1 minute. Mark.
Range is green, weather is good. 40 seconds until launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. Mark.
"20 seconds until liftoff.
T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Engines will start. Lift off of Antares. NG-12 mission, Wallops flight facility. Engines at 100%. Attitude nominal. Power nominal. Engine performance nominal. Attitude nominal. Bore pressure nominal. Power nominal. TBC performance nominal. Engine performance nominal. Estimated alpha, 1 degree. VNO3 is open. Engines remain at 100% and steady. Beginning of load relief. Power is nominal. Estimated alpha 1 degree. Engines remain at 100% and steady. Power is nominal. Load relief phasing out. VNG3 is open. Roughly 100 seconds to MECO.
Everything proceeding smoothly, about 100 seconds till main engine cutoff.
Just passing 100,000 feet. 100 feet per second squared. High altitude pitch up at 5 degrees. Enabling velocity steering. Engines remain stable. 1 minute to MECO. Engines remain at 100%. Attitude is nominal. VNO4 and VNO5 activated. Power nominal. Just passing 200,000 feet. Slow throttle down to 80% initiated.
Main engine cutoff coming up in about 15 seconds.
Engines 55%. Engines remain nominal. Main engine cutoff, nominal. PSS disabled. Stage 1 separation. ACS enabled. Attitude nominal.
You can see in this graphic, Cygnus is separated from the stage 1, and in the next few seconds, we'll be looking for the fairing separation. That's the shroud that covers and protects Cygnus during its launch.
Stage 1 ignition time projected at T plus 245. Fairing separation. Interstage separation. Stage 2 ignition.
Stage 2 is that solid rocket fuel that will burn for about 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
Attitude nominal.
Everything proceeding smoothly for Cygnus.
Is nominal. Avionics power is nominal. Reaching 135 kilometers. Attitude nominal. Stage 2 TVC is nominal. Power subsystems remain nominal. Altitude has just reached 150 kilometers.
Stage 2 continuing to propel Cygnus now at 1,100 miles per hour.
Power and TVC systems remain nominal. Attitude nominal. We are nearing 1 minute to stage 2 burnout. PVC is nominal. Attitude nominal. Altitude 180 kilometers. Power subsystem nominal.
Stage 2 burnout coming up in about 30 seconds. Cygnus velocity currently over 15,000 miles per hour.
Attitude remains nominal. Altitude reaching 190 kilometers. Stage 2 burnout. FTS disabled. Attitude nominal.
Stage 2 burnout confirmed. Cygnus moving at over 16,833 miles per hour.
Active.
The next milestone will be Cygnus separation at about 8 minutes and 49 seconds after launch.
Power is nominal. Antares will coast for roughly another minute prior to payload separation. Systems continue to perform nominal. Altitude 190 kilometers. Apogee and perigee within 1 sigma. Roughly 30 seconds to spacecraft separation. Power is nominal. Spacecraft separation.
Team celebrating the confirmation of the spacecraft separation. Cygnus is now flying on its own.
Maneuver initiated. LC, that will end our callouts here for the NG-12 mission for Antares.
Excellent job, Ace. Excellent job. Good launch all the way around. Let's go ahead and continue with our post-launch checklist on countdown 1. And prop 1, step 423. Can you give me status on pulse purging?
LC's prop 1, pulse purging is complete.
Okay, copy that. And site control, step 424, remove aft bay GN2 flow and reconfigure ECS for post-launch.
Copy that and work.
Copy and work. Core 1, LC, countdown 1.
LC Core 1 on countdown 1.
Yeah, Core 1, you can direct Ujnoy to power off their MS ground equipment and report when complete. Same with their FMS as well.
Copy that, LC. They have to wait till they get access to the island to do that.
Oh, okay. Understood.
But I will let them know they're allowed to proceed once they gain access.
Roger that. And Ops 1, step 427, you can deactivate arm enable and verify.
LC Ops 1, arm enable rotated, arm enable indication no longer illuminated, and I can give you 428 Ops 1 launch enable removed.
Copy that. And GSO, disable your local launch enable button.
Launch enable button off.
Copy that. GSO, we'll check 429.
LC, this is site control. Step 424 is complete.
Roger that. Site control 424 is complete. And Ops 2, if you can record your ground Mach volts and currents.
Ground Mach, external power on and green, and power supply voltage is 27.96. Power supply current 0.6.
Copy all there, Ops 2, and can you remove ground Mach power?
Ground Mach external power off.
Roger that, Ops 2. TLM 432, report when telemetry lock has been lost at the DCOM for the avionics motor cone.
With that successful confirmation of orbital insertion, Cygnus is now on its way to the International Space Station, where it will arrive in 2 days on November 4th. Right now, we're here with Christina Halona, the Program Manager for Antares Systems Engineering, Integration, and Test. So, Christina, what's going on now on the ground, and what will the teams be doing until Cygnus arrives on Monday?
So the Cygnus ground team will be monitoring the spacecraft as well as performing a series of orbit maneuver burns to arrive at the International Space Station at a certain given time. The NASA ground team will be preparing the space station for the Cygnus capture, arrival, and installation.
Power supply voltage 27.99.
And we're looking forward to that arrival early Monday morning. But looking forward to Cygnus' departure, it will leave the space station in January 2020, but it's scheduled to complete an extended mission. So what will it be doing during that time?
Post-departure from the space station, the Cygnus vehicle performs a series of various secondary operations. We're going to be launching some small satellites or CubeSats, as well as performing maneuvers to test vehicle functions. Eventually, the vehicle will perform a destructive entry over the Southern Pacific Ocean and also be carrying out all of the trash from the space station as well, and burning up on that reentry.
It's a very advanced way to dispose of trash.
It certainly is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Christina. In just a few moments, we'll be speaking with Kenny Todd, the ISS Manager for Operations and Integration. This is a view of the Northrop Grumman Mission Control Center in Dulles, where Mission Director Paul Brower is overseeing all of the teams who are monitoring the systems aboard Cygnus, and they'll be keeping a close eye on the vehicle over the next couple of days while it makes its journey to the space station.
For step 442, I have all four values nominal in green. 443, the pad J-box pressure is off in red. Tower J-box pressure is on in green. And I'm selecting off for the ground power J-box.
Okay, copy all there, Ops 1. Thanks for those readbacks. And Ops 1, Ops 2, you can proceed with the VIC client safing and power down. And Ops 2, if I can get you to extract the UPS logs for the LAV.
A recap of everything that happened this morning. We saw an on-time launch of Cygnus at 8:59 a.m. Central Time, 9:59 a.m. Eastern, towards the International Space Station. Cygnus lifted off from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Wallops Island, Virginia, and the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport Pad 0A. Cygnus is carrying with it over 4 tons of cargo to the International Space Station, including the last hardware needed for the upcoming Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer spacewalks planned for later this month. Cygnus will arrive at the space station in 2 days. That'll be Monday, November 4th, and we'll be live at 1:45 a.m. Central Time for the capture of the vehicle by NASA astronauts Christina Cook and Jessica Meir aboard the International Space Station.
449 and 450, termination of pulse purging, verifying all sequencer activities are complete, and transitioning OCCS to manual mode. And verifying on both servers. What can you give me on those steps?
Copy that. Stand by.
And GSO, I'll wait for your call.
It was a smooth timeline and ascent for Cygnus this morning. After an 8-minute and 49-second ride into orbit, Cygnus is now on its way to the International Space Station. Next milestone will be the unfolding of the Ultraflex solar arrays, which will help power the craft as it makes its journey to the orbiting laboratory.
LC, this is prop lead on countdown 1.
Yeah, go ahead, prop lead.
Yeah, pulse purging with FGSE has been terminated. All sequencer activities are complete. We are in we're in manual mode, and all auto sequence controls are paused.
All right, I copy that, prop lead. Thanks for the heads up there. And GSO LC on countdown 1.
GSO.
Yeah, let me know when launch site is cleared for reentry.
Copy. Currently, fire department is there, and red team is en route.
Okay, roger that. And is I assume then red team will be waiting for permission from the fire department to reenter?
Fire department has already checked. No gross hazards. Red team has permission to enter the pad.
All right, very good. I'm going to go ahead and close 447 then. Okay, launch team LC on countdown 1. We've completed our post-launch checklist, and at this time I'm going to go ahead and release all stations. Great job, Antares, and congratulations, Cygnus. And Wallops Range, great job today. And Mars, thanks so much for the support. Couldn't have done it without you. LC out, stations released.
LC, PM, are you going to need any support from the range?
We are joined now by International Space Station Manager for Operations and Integration, Kenny Todd. It looked like a nominal launch today, and Cygnus is on its way to the space station. So how's the program feeling?
Well, right now it's been a very busy 24 hours. Yesterday we released the HTV, the Japanese-built HTV, after it stayed with us for 30 days, and then we get up this morning and do a picture-perfect launch of the Antares rocket with the Cygnus. So we're excited. The pace just picks up from here, but we're excited and ready to go.
And this launch is also carrying the remainder of the tools that will be used during the alpha magnetic spectrometer spacewalks for later this month. So can you talk maybe about what are some of the things that are going on board, or maybe those spacewalks?
Of course, sure. We've been working for the last several years to put together a plan to go out and repair the alpha magnetic spectrometer, and that's led us to, quite frankly, some ways of thinking about approaching these EVAs that we hadn't ever considered before when it comes to our tools and the way we access the work site. And so it's going to be a challenging set of spacewalks. Right now we're thinking it's like 4 spacewalks, possibly 5, but we're leaning forward, have a plan for 4. The actual tools that we're going to use are going to be very unique in nature, just because of some of the things we have to do to get access into the areas that we need to put this new pump package that's been built by the AMS consortium. So we're excited to get on board with these new tools. We think that we have a really, really high probability of success based on all the work that's been done here on the ground, and with the team that's put together these tools. So again, a lot of work that's went into it, and we feel pretty good about this, what I'll call a unique set of tools.
So you mentioned 4 spacewalks coming up in this next month and a half, maybe. What does the pace look like for those?
Well, we've got a blend of a lot of science coming on board right now. The Cygnus itself has a little over 8,000 pounds of cargo, and over half of that, about 4,600 pounds, is dedicated to science on the International Space Station. And so, while we're focused here in the near term on trying to get things ready to go do these AMS EVAs, we've also got a lot of science that's coming on board. A lot of this is time-critical, time-phased science, and so we're going to be putting together an integrated plan that allows us to conduct these EVAs, but at the same time do some high-value, high-target research. We have some rodent research that's coming on board. We also have some biology experiments that are coming on board. Again, all that have specific start and stop times in order to achieve the science objectives. So we'll over the next 4 to 5 weeks try to knock out as many of these AMS EVAs as we can get. Again, not wanting to compromise the other science objectives that we've got on board with the Cygnus. But once we get through these AMS EVAs, we'll be right on the doorstep of SpaceX, the next SpaceX flight that'll be coming our way, and so in early December. So anyway, we're going to be going at a pretty good clip here over the next few weeks. We'll spend a lot of time in suits and checking out suits, but in parallel with that, we're going to be trying to do a whole lot of, as I said, high value, high target research. Some of it aimed, quite frankly, at helping us check out some of the technologies and things that we're going to need when we go to Moon and Mars. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Absolutely, a very busy time for the International Space Station. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kenny. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The next milestone for Cygnus will be solar array deploy, and you can monitor our blog and social media sites for more information once that has occurred this morning. After that milestone, Cygnus will continue its journey to the space station and will arrive on Monday, November 4th, 2019. It will be berthed to the Earth-facing side of the Unity module when Jessica Meir and Christina Cook capture the vehicle with the Canadarm2. Crew will access the cargo on the same day. Our capture coverage will be live on air at 1:45 a.m. Central Time, 2:45 a.m. Eastern Time that morning, November 4th, and berthing coverage of Cygnus to the station's Unity module will go live at 5:30 a.m. Central, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. We hope you'll join us for that. Also on Monday, we'll broadcast live from Launch Complex 32 at White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico as Boeing prepares to put the launch abort system of its CST-100 Starliner to the test. Coverage is scheduled to begin just before the 8 a.m. Central, which is 7 o'clock Mountain Time. It's a 90-second test designed to demonstrate Starliner's ability to quickly escape the launch pad in the event of a launch day emergency. It'll be Boeing's first flight test as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program and help evaluate the performance of the abort system prior to missions to the International Space Station with a crew on board. NASA and the commercial partners, Boeing and SpaceX, are working toward returning the capability to launch American astronauts to the International Space Station and low Earth orbit on American-built spacecraft from American soil. But for now, a successful Saturday launch of Cygnus on time at 8:59 a.m. Central, 9:59 a.m. Eastern, now on its way to the space station. We'll be live on air again at 1:45 a.m. Central Monday for rendezvous and capture, and at 5:30 a.m. Central for berthing of Cygnus to the International Space Station. We hope you'll join us for the arrival, and until then, that wraps up our coverage for today. This is Mission Control Houston.